I am an uneducated person, which today simply means traditional education didn't work for me. I stand before you completely unqualified to be standing before you today. I also stand before you representing so many others, just like myself, your friends, family, and those around you, uneducated, unqualified, and still with something to say and something to offer. My journey to becoming a proud, uneducated person started when I was very young. I was a good student, but I was often bored and restless and chatty, really chatty. In middle school, I didn't fit in, didn't have many friends, and ultimately didn't do well academically. But I found my place in a very special place. I attended a charter high school that was focused on the arts and designed for students like me, where we were encouraged to ask questions, solve problems, and we only had to sit in chairs if we wanted to. Then, I went to college for one simple reason, because I was told, along with all my peers, from the point that I was very young, that I had two choices for my future, that I could go to college or be a failure. And I didn't want to be a failure. I had never been a failure. So, overachiever that I am, I did not only drop out of one college, I dropped out of 3. So, I was forced with a decision. I decided that I would find people who were doing work that I admired, and I would ask them, how did you learn how to do that? And more importantly, how can I learn how to do that? This is a concept that's now known as experiential learning. Experiential learning is defined as learning through experience, but more specifically, learning through the reflection on doing. So world, I am not a college dropout. I am an experiential learner, and maybe you are too. So here's my proposal. I propose that we change the conversation, that we change it from where did you get your degree, and to how did you learn how to do that? This may seem very simple, because it is. This is a simple shift in conversation that instantly moves it from exclusive to inclusive. You see, by asking someone, how did you learn how to do that? That doesn't exclude the answer from being, I went to college and earned an advanced degree. That simply includes and validates individuals with experiences like mine. All right, so it's not lost on me that this talk up until this point has been fairly hypocritical. I am standing before you and telling you how to think and behave, so let's get a little unconventional, shall we? Let's step out of the box and do something that this TEDx stage has never seen before. Full audience participation. We know that we retain 70% more knowledge when learning is active, so let's retain some knowledge together, shall we? We're going to play a little game called Sit Down If. The rules are very simple. I will give you a list of criteria, and you will sit down if that criteria applies to you. Fair enough? All right, everyone, please stand with me. First, sit down if you currently hold a degree or a diploma that directly aligns with the work that you're currently doing. If that applies to you, please sit down. Thank you. Next, sit down if you currently hold a degree or a diploma but are not currently working in that field. If that applies to you, please sit down. All right, those left standing with me, you are my people. You are my peers. You are the answer to the question, what happens to people who don't graduate from college? You are the living and breathing examples of what experiential learning looks like. I applaud the work that you have done and that you will do in the future. I understand the difficult conversations that you have had to have and defend because I have had them too. I appreciate when you are made to feel less than simply because of the way that you've chosen to build your life, because I have felt that too. I also understand that some of you may be feeling fairly uncomfortable right now. That is precisely why I'm here today. I am tired of having to dodge, omit, and compensate for my lack of education. I stand with you as a proud, uneducated person, and I applaud the courage that it takes for you to stand with me today. All right, now let's change things up. Please stand up if you have ever acquired a skill through doing, through getting your hands dirty, getting your head in the game, or having a conversation. Well, would you look at that? You are not college graduates. You are experiential learners. Thanks for being awesome, everyone. Please sit down. Electing a life without higher education requires a certain set of skills. It requires one to be passionate, dedicated, resilient, resourceful, creative, and to be extraordinarily hardworking. Employers, think about the last job that you posted. Were any of these qualities that you had listed in your ideal candidates section? Maybe you had a neat little bullet point sitting next to them. Now think about the other bullet points on that page. Did you have an education requirement? Have you considered how many candidates that you may have excluded who have the qualities that you want and need to grow your organization simply because you placed one bullet point ahead of another? Now I want to take a moment to clarify something. It would be very easy to misinterpret my talk as anti-higher education. I want to make one thing very clear. I do not want someone hands-on learning in my guts during surgery. I strongly believe that there is a place for academic learners in our system. I also believe that there is a place for all learners in our system. Look at it this way. Picture two tables with students sitting around them. The first table has a variety of materials and an example of what an end product should look like. The second table has the same materials, but no example. The best possible outcome that the first table with the example can hope for is an exact copy of that example that's placed before them. They're confined by the individual that created that example, and they will be judged as a success or a failure based on their ability to copy that likeness. Now, the second table has no example. Those students will have to create individually. They will have to think critically and creatively, and they will have to defend their successes and describe their choices. Which team would you rather have at your workplace? Here's how we create change. We need to evaluate the way that we assess the credibility and qualifications of those around us. We have to change the conversation from where did you get your degree and to how did you learn how to do that. This small shift in conversation will make a large impact for people like me, your friends, family, and those around you who will have to compete in a future workforce. But mostly, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to someone as uneducated and unqualified as I am. Thank you for standing with me and still believing that I have something to say and something to offer. Thank you.